everyone. It's great to have you all. On the behalf of all my viewers, I extend a hearty congratulations to each one of you for securing the rare feat of achieving gold medals in scholastic performance in IIM Kozhikode. Congratulations. Without any delay, I would like to get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Riya Kapoor. Firstly, thank you to Firdaus and the entire team for having us here. Give a little bit of background about myself, I'm an electronics and communication engineer from NSIT Delhi. And post my undergrad, I directly went for my MBA from IIM Kozhikode. I joined with BCG last summer and I was awarded a PPO, and currently I'm working as a senior associate in BCG's New Delhi office. And I was awarded the Scholastic Gold Medal for securing the first rank in the flagship 2-year PGP program at IIM Kozhikode.
Hello everybody, I'm Kanika Sachdeva. I joined IIM Kozhikode 2 years ago after having 3 years of work experience across financial research and consulting. I did my undergrad in commerce with Gargi College, University of Delhi. Last summer, I was interning with a private equity firm called Multiples Alternate Asset Management. Thereafter, I'll be working with Bain, which is a management consulting firm, in the position of a junior consultant. As far as the awards are concerned, I was awarded the Scholastic Performance Award for securing Institute Rank 2, as well as the gold medal for all-round performance.
So, hello everyone. My name is Prashant Saxena, and I'm a typical GEM candidate. So, I graduated in mechanical engineering from Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh, and after graduation, I prepared for UPSC Civil Services examination. And I reached up to the interview stage in the civil services examination, and after that, at the same time, I secured All India rank 56 in SBI PO recruitment examination and got selected as a probationary officer at SBI. At SBI, I worked for 3 years, and after that, I planned for my MBA. And I was awarded the gold medal for scholastic performance for securing the Institute rank 3 in the PGP 23rd batch of IIM Kozhikode.
So 2 years of MBA is like a very big roller coaster ride for all the students. Apart from the academic rigor, there are a lot of activities which surround our lives, be it case competitions, be it placements, or be it all other student body activities. I would love to hear from you guys how these 2 years of IMK had been for you.
I could start on that. Well, these 2 years have been wonderful. And as we say, it's been a steep learning curve. I mean, to start with student bodies, I was part of 3 student bodies here. The first one was Consult, which is the consulting interest group. The second one was Share. Share is primarily an international organization which has its student channels across educational institutes, where students take part in training and live projects, and they learn more about consulting. It's a pretty new channel out here at IIM Kozhikode. And the third one was Conquest, which is essentially the knowledge committee. And we help students with placements preparation, right from resume preparation to interviews. And I think that all of them have different components to them. But one thing that is quite, I would say, similar is that, you learn by working with a team. Secondly, there are a lot of interactions that you have both with senior and the junior batches. So it helps you broaden your network. And also, it helps you take initiatives, right? There are a lot of new things that you think about as a student, as Firdaus is also doing in her capacity as a student and also as a student council member, right? So I think this is a great experience, right, from ideation to implementation in itself. As far as case competitions is concerned, I've had my share of taking part in domestic and international case competitions. I mean, I took part in 1+ ET Prime case competition, and I was judged the national winner. I could manage to get to the nationals for Amazon as well. But then there are also a lot of case competitions I participated in and I couldn't get through. Nevertheless, these case competitions help you prepare better, not only for other case competitions that are out there, but also for your classes, because that makes for a good case study and you can discuss it with the professors as well as your peers.
Just adding my part to it. So yes, I mean, there are so many things that you can do on campus. I think it's a very, very vibrant community, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Obviously, there are the academics, and that's an entire game in itself. With all the submissions and assignments and case studies and quizzes and simulations, and I think that's also fun. I mean, it's not like boring, but it's fun. So that is obviously being Scholastic medal winners. That's obviously been a big part of what we've done. Apart from that, what I've also done is I've been a part of Financially Yours, which is the finance interest group of IIM Koikot. So they do a lot of activities. It is one of the most active student bodies on campus. I've also participated in my share of competitions, state competitions, but I think I don't have any kind of big achievements to boast about on that. But yes, the experience has been there, the learning has been there, and obviously it's been fun.
I would like to add one thing that before dedicating your efforts into something in your MBA, as there are many activities and things that are available, it helps to first of all analyze that what value you can add to the MBA ecosystem. So you need to analyze.
Thank you, panelists. As we know, the first year of MBA, it is like a altogether new zone that the students will enter, because there are a lot of different subjects that they have to deal with. Not everyone has the same background, let's say. So many of us are majorly engineers who don't have a background in operations or finance subjects. So how did you all start during the initial term one itself? So in MBA, the pedagogy is very different. We have exams, we have quizzes, we have group assignments, we have class participation factors as well. So how did you all go about structuring your process of dealing with the academics?
So yeah, obviously MBA is a different ballgame altogether. And like Firdaus said, like most of us are engineers. So I am an engineer and I don't have any prior work. So can't be more, having less of a background than that. But yeah, so when you come into first term, you have financial accounting, you have ops, you have HR, you have everything under the sun. So yes, it's difficult. It's also very overwhelming. So it's fine if you're stressed, if you're tensed out. That's a very normal feeling to have. And trust me, I think everybody goes through it, even with people who have, that kind of a background. I think Kanika has a finance background. She has a commerce background. Even then, we all feel overwhelmed when we first come in MBA. Because it's not just the academics, like we are used to having just like exams at the end of the year after the entire course or the semester has been done. But here it's more on a continuous basis. So what has always worked for me is I have always been very actively engaged in class. Every class I attend, I'm very actively engaged. I listen to the class, and I think that's where you do like half of the job is done. Because if you're present and you're active in the class, you retain a lot of it. And then that just takes off a lot of work off your plate when you have to go back later and study or whatever, or revise. And another thing is that being consistent. So what I tried to do was to be consistent, and whatever has been covered in the class, I used to kind of start reading it side by side. I did not let things pile up till the end, because there are weeks when you have like 5 quizzes in 2 days and you have back-to-back stuff, and then you can't really study at that point of time. So that has helped. And I think like case studies, etc., are a big part of it. So it's very small things which make a difference. So reading those cases or those materials which the faculty tells you, it is just like 15 pages. At one time it's just 15 pages if you read it before the class, and that makes a hell of a difference, because then at the end of the year or at the end of the semester, it's going to be 500,000 pages and you can't read it. So just being consistent helps, because if you've read the case, then in the next day in the class you can actually participate, and when you participate you retain a lot of it, and that kind of builds a virtuous cycle which helps you kind of overcome these battles.
And I'd just like to add something to that. I mean, coming from a commerce background, and I think this is a big myth that MBA is a free flow for you. I don't think that's the case. First and foremost, maybe it might help you in the first year with some foundation accounting and finance courses, but you will get stuck with IT and operations. So it's a balance from people coming from different backgrounds, right? There's also a subject called society and business sustainability, etc., which we might not have heard of during our undergrad periods. So I think it's a mix and match of everything. And beyond that, with placements with student body activities on campus, it's very, very difficult to sort of, put your fingers into everything. And as Ria said, consistency is key. You read the materials, you attend the classes. And there's also one thing about seeking help. It's okay to ask your friends who are good at the subject to help you with it, or even reach out to faculty out of class. A lot of people are just scared because they think that, we've cleared CAT and we've scored so much percentile. Why should we seek help at all? In no way seeking help undermines your competency. All of us are here to learn, to become better. And I think you should be free to, reach out to people for help, and at the same time also give help with the subjects you're good at.
Yours was the first batch to witness a shift, like the entire classroom model was shifted to an online model. So it might not have been easy for y'all also, because it's happening for the first time, and the dynamics might have changed because the online classrooms give you the flexibility to just turn off your video, just mute yourself and do some other stuff. So how was your approach to the online learning?
Okay, as far as the online pedagogy goes, I think that we were fortunate enough to have a hybrid sort of setting, because in the first year it was completely offline for us, and in the second year it went online. Well, the issue comes in over here that term 4 is perhaps the most, difficult term out of all, because you have the highest number of electives. You're switching to an ecosystem where the classes are almost double in length. And also the pressure goes up because you've got placements and the new batch is coming in. The student bodies are also doing their activities, a couple of activities of onboarding and selections, right? So at that point in time, I would say you are internally motivated after your internships to pursue the subjects, and term 4 has a bunch of subjects across the board available to you. So a lot of people do actually attend classes with interest. I would say that something that kept us going was that we were also previously engaged with these professors in offline classes. So a lot of us were already aware of what their pedagogy is, and how the interactions go on. Also, we were aware of who our peers are, right? So it was very easy for us. I wouldn't say very easy, but I would say comparatively easier for us to sort of engage ourselves in online classes. Of course, there is a tendency to deviate because you are sitting at home. At that point, all of us were based out of home. We were not on campus. So there's always a tendency to sort of deviate, to sort of, not pay as much attention as you would like in an offline class. So I think that what kept us going was, thinking that, this online experience is something that is very similar to what an offline class gives. It's the same faculty, the same material. And, we have to do our part of, participating and answering whatever the faculty is asking, because it's very difficult for somebody hosting it online and not getting any attention. Right. So I think this was a mutual understanding between the faculty and us. And this could be a very different experience for your batch who've had completely online classes, I guess. So I think that the first year of offline really helped us do this.
I think Kanika covered pretty much everything. But I think even though we knew our peers and we had that kind of understanding, and which is actually a big factor, because I realized that that the younger batch did not even know their peers. They've never met, face to face. I think that's a big factor. But I think it just takes that much more effort to actually sit in front of a laptop and log in the class. Then, you can simply log in, walk off, and your attendance is going to be recorded. So it takes that much effort to sit in the class and, actually listen to what the faculty is saying. And I know no one does this. You can try and switch on your video. That actually helps you to focus more, because you are being, watched. No one's doing it, but try and do it, guys. It helps. And I think also treating it like a safe space, because I think in a offline setup, it is much more easier to simply raise your hand and say, I have a doubt here. Can you just explain this again? Because the faculty is speaking and he's not getting any kind of, non-verbal gesture. So he can't really make out who's not understanding and stop in between or ask those kind of questions. So here, I think it becomes all the more important to just unmute yourself and say, sir, ma'am, please pause here. I need a clarification. This is what my thoughts are, that kind of a thing. And also, I think when you are in an online setup, you become a lot kind of isolated from your peers. So staying in touch with them, just get on a call, get on a Zoom, switch on your videos. And I think that kind of a thing also helps you to kind of cope with it, with those things better. And when there are case studies, that you have to prepare, just setting up a Zoom call, getting together and, doing that 1 hour of discussion. Those kind of things help, but you have to just, put in that much of extra energy and put in that extra effort to get through.
One major factor that is very important for any MBA student is time management. So because we have a lot of activities going on simultaneously, parallelly, we are added into multiple WhatsApp groups. So this time management factor plays a very crucial role. So I wanted to know, like, are there some specific tools that you use to use it during your day-to-day MBA life?
I'll start with that. I think that first and foremost, you can't do multiple things at the same time, right? At any given point in time, you have to prioritize what's important for you. For instance, Ria said, right, in her first term, she was focusing on learning about different domains and she had her summer placement to look after. Therefore, she let the academics go, right? But then she's Institute Rank 1, which is that, after she was done, she got back on track. So you need to understand at any given point in time what is really, really important for you, right? In the first year, for me, ACADS were very, very important because I knew that that would build my base for the second year and will help me with the electives. Therefore, I paid, I spent a lot of time on my academics. And at that point in time, I was involved with only 2 student bodies. Having done that, and when I was more confident, I took up more workload in my second year with another student body and by taking part in different competitions. So it's a matter of time. It's a matter of knowing what your weak areas are and then prioritizing what's important for you. No matter which tool you use, be it a calendar tool or a notes tool, unless you're clear in the head, it's practically nothing that can help you. Right? You have to figure out what do you want out of this MBA life at the end of the day. That's number one. Number two, team dynamics are very important, be it in your academic groups or your student body groups or your case competition groups. They should understand you and you should be able to alternate, right? For example, I've got the same academic group and the same case competition group, and we have to focus on both the things. So, some people will focus on the academic part, some will focus on the case competition part, and later perhaps, exchange ideas and whatever they've learned. So I think peer learning jumps in over here. You have to work in coordination with others. At no given point in time, you can think that, I will accomplish this as well, this as well. So I would say that, first clear in your head, what do you want to do? Second, if you have more than one priority, then, lean on your team, build strong relationships throughout these 2 years so that, there are people you can back on.
As we have talked about team dynamics and how we can rely on our team, so many a times in be it case competitions or be it academic group studies, there's always this factor of freeloading in teams. So did you guys also face this problem? Like, how to curb it? Is there any way that you approached it?
So that is a very classic economic problem, the freeloader problem. And what happens that when you have a lot of freeloaders in a group, so there is also an advantage to it. And it is that you can actually get more freedom and you can do what you want actually, right? So you have more freedom to pursue your ideas. You have to, you get to do it your own way, right?
At the end of the day, you have to do it. But I think what's important is also to realize that some people have different priorities. Everybody's not so much focused on academics as you might mean. Like, let's say it's term 5 and people are just relaxing because they got to go on their job in a couple of months and they're not, focusing on that, that gold medal, so to speak, while you might be. So I think at that point of time, it's important to realize that everybody has this much of time or this much of effort that they want to put in. And post that, if it doesn't meet your expectations or you want to do it better, then you have to take it the distance. And I think that's fine. I mean, you want the better marks, you want that gold medal, so you work for it.
I have one specific question for Kanika. So here she has bagged both the Scholastic Gold Medal Award and also the All-Rounder Gold Medal Award. So Kanika, how was it for you? Like the entire journey, like from a starting first year student till bagging those two gold medals. It might have been very hectic for you. So, what were the things that you have included throughout your MBA journey?
When this all-rounder medal announcement happened, I couldn't believe it. Right, I filled the application though, but I wasn't really confident about it. I think that it's a lot of things put together. All the applicants were phenomenal, right? They've done wonderful things throughout their careers, and they've done wonderful things at K, and nobody can compare that, right? So I would say this, a lot of people come with the preconceived notion that there are certain student bodies you should join if you were to bag an all-rounder medal. No offense to any student body, but that's the common notion. And I'm not a part of any of those student bodies, just to make it clear. So I think that was also something that was bagging me down. But on the whole, I would just like to clear the criteria for the all-rounder medal. Academics definitely have to be clear, right? You have to be one of the top performing candidates within ACADS. And when I say one of the top performing candidates, it's good to be in the top 5 percentile. I'm not saying that's the only criteria, but it's good to be in the top 5 percentile. Apart from that, your extracurriculars could span from your student body associations, from your case competitions, your live projects, right, and any other events you take part of outside of IIM Kozhikode. And the third parameter, apart from your individual achievements on any platform, would be your contributions to IIMK and the society at large. What have you done to make your community, grow better, or make your surroundings better for anyone else to step in? I think those are the parameters on which the all-rounder medal is judged upon, right? So as far as I was concerned, I've already talked about my student body affiliations. I've already talked about the ACADS part. Also here, I would like to play emphasis on the other things, right? So the first thing over there is a life project. I worked with an international VC fund called IML Ventures right before my summer internship. And I did that because I was going to work for a private equity fund, and I had limited knowledge. Therefore, I thought that this life project could be something that could help me with my summer internship. It's good to take a life project in case you want to get some working knowledge of the work that you would do for a summer internship, or in case your previous role before coming into an MBA was completely different from the one you will be pursuing as a summer intern or a post MBA candidate. So this life project works well, I think. And the second thing that is really important when you are talking about your overall performance are going to be the events on campus. As I said, Echoes and Backwaters are two great opportunities to take part. But apart from that, you've also got Toastmasters, you've also got IIC Industry Interaction Cell holding events around the year. All of these opportunities come to you through student bodies, and these are both through formal and informal groups. So you should keep an eye out for all of them. Apart from that, you've got to break down your day into multiple things, right? These many hours for your ACADS, this much for your student bodies, this much for yourself. That really helps. Nevertheless, don't go in with the goal of achieving a gold medal. Go with the goal of making the most out of your MBA life, and this is just an outcome. It's not the end goal.
Yeah, you put it up very beautifully, Kanika. Thank you. All the three of you might have extremely worked hard. So with all the hard work, with all the efforts that goes in, there is a factor of stress also that might have crept in some point or the other during your entire journey. So, what were the things that you do for relaxation or for just easing out of that stress zone?
Stress is like the another thing which happens in the MBA. That's a big part of it actually, and I think managing it is super important for you to be productive there. And for me, like my family is my biggest stress buster. So my mom is my coach, my best friend, my mentor. She's pretty much made me who I am today. So just talking to her, venting out whether it is a small thing which happened in the class or anything else, or the assignments that are piling up and the deadlines I have to meet, uh, is just helpful. I mean, for me, she's my best friend, so I used to do that interactive sessions with her. But yeah, just talking to your peers, I've talked to a lot of my peers. I used to just call them up, whether it's 11 p.m. in the night or whatever, and just tell them that, you know what, I have so much shit to do. And it's like, doesn't matter, I have 20 more things. So then you feel better about it. But apart from that, obviously, there's the usual Amazon, Netflix. And I love to read. So even though my reading capacity has gone down because obviously there are a lot of things, but still, I mean, those reading is another stress part.
Kanika, what would you do?
I think when you are at God's own campus, it's a serious offense to not take long walks on campus. So that's number one. Number two, I think that it would be badminton, playing badminton, because it's right near the hostels. And another thing that I really loved on campus and I learned on campus would be playing poker. So and now I'm a poker maniac. So I think that's been really helpful. Everybody relates with that.
So, as we come towards the end of the session, I would like to have one piece of advice from each one of you that our juniors could take back from this session.
I think in MBA, the way to ace it is, and this is more, a little bit more on the academic side, is just two things. One is being consistent, and second is being curious. So just being very curious to learn, to being able to be open to ideas and to soak up everything that comes your way, because there are going to be a plethora of things that you can do there. So just being open to every avenue and not having a mental block that, no, okay, I'm only going to do this and not the other things. There are so many opportunities, so try and explore everything that you can, because for most of the people, this is probably going to be the last, academic kind of program of our life. So after that, we're going to go into corporate setup and probably not go back to classes again. And so this is essentially also the opportunity where you can explore everything under the sun and try your hand out and do and find out what is something that pulls at your heart and what you find, that you enjoy doing on a daily basis. So I think that kind of a curiosity to learn and explore opportunities is important. Second thing, like I said earlier, also being very consistent is also important. There are a lot of times when there are bad days and you just don't want to do anything at all, but still having the courage and being motivated internally to get up and pursue and be persistent. So that kind of a grit and consistency is something that is also important, which is something which will help you not just ace these 2 years, but also in life.
I think one piece of advice would be for everyone out there to connect with alumni. A lot of people forget this in the process, that an MBA experience is about connecting with people, right? Forming your own network. And if you live in isolation, if you just, befriend with the batches that you interact with, it's a big issue, right? Because when you come out of that MBA experience, it's very difficult for you to go and get back to the alumni. So you should start right when you enter campus, because alumni can help you, traverse through your professional as well as your personal journey. For me, this has been the case because a lot of those alumni have mentored me during my interview preparations, and also to launch this initiative called Women in Management. One of the alumnus guided me to relaunch this on the portal. It is an ecosystem for women to connect, to get mentored, and also perhaps share their stories with each other, because as you grow in the professional network, it becomes important for you to get a platform, right, to sort of share the problems that you face, so that the people who are coming new into the ecosystem realize that this is something that you might also face. How do you sort of tackle that? So for me, this has been the quite, I would say, the Einstein moment, that connecting with alumni eases your life a lot more than you think.
I would like to quote Albus Dumbledore here from the Harry Potter, and he says to Harry that it is our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. So what happens at campus is that there are a lot of capable people, but you need to make the right choices at the right point of time. So that makes all the difference. You need to choose among a lot of things, and you need to make the right choices. And for that, for making the right choices, you need to introspect a lot. So do introspection and make the right choices at right point of time.
So I must say it has been a great session. I wholeheartedly thank each one of you for taking out the time from your busy schedule and having this session with our channel. So I'm very sure that all our juniors and the incoming batches would gain a lot of insights from this session. And on the behalf of the entire IMK community, I again heartfully extend my congratulations to all the three of you. May you achieve greater heights of success.